Supercell, you've lost the plot. 2 years worth of upgrades are gone, as well as almost 400 million in resources from the upgrade costs. G'day folks, Spackman here. Welcome back or welcome to the channel. Hot damn, Supercell is full of surprises. Last week, the huge clan game changes, and now massive decreases in build times, upgrade times across the board. Insane. Troop build costs, we have laboratory upgrade times, the build times and upgrade costs of your defenses. Now, the scale of these changes, particularly for those of the building upgrade cost and time, cannot be underestimated. And are these just discounts, or does it imply new upgrades and levels for buildings and troops down the track in this update? And I'll also be covering at the end of this video why more than ever you've got to keep your lab going and you need to focus on and grind your heroes. I can't stress that enough. And before we get into this, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, turn notifications on if you haven't, and tell your old lady about me. Why not? Spread the love. And for now, let's look at the figures. I'll largely be moving through these pretty smoothly, as well as showing overall figures rather than focusing on levels one by one. We will be here forever, and that's just ridiculous. The cooking costs for the Wall Breaker and Wizard, some pretty decent discounts there. The Balloon and Healer, however, it's largely mech and doesn't really change much at all. Dragons across the board are seeing some pretty decent discounts, as you can see there by the first one. And the Dark Elixir troops in general are receiving some pretty decent discounts, except for maybe the final level of the Golem there. But even so, a discount's a discount, right? And Baby Dragon's probably receiving one of the biggest discounts of the lot. So he's receiving a lot of love, as is the Freeze spell, actually. So Freeze and Rage are the only two spells here to take any discounts. And the Barbarian, Archer, Giant, Goblin, Miner, Hound, and Ice Golem are all troops not seeing any change in cost at any level. All right, time for the upgrade times in the laboratory. Now, individually, these may not seem like much, but they stack up. Believe me, I did the maths. And the majority of these are for the last few levels, with the exception to the Town Hall 12 upgrades, which by and large seem to have been ignored in this particular update changes. But Town Hall 9, 10, and 11 are all seeing some solid discounts. So it should be useful for almost every player. And again, due to time, we're going to run through these. But pause and stop to see more detail if you wish. Barbarian, 5.5 total upgrade time discounted. The Archer is also receiving 5.5 days off. Giant is receiving 5.5 days off. Goblin, 5 days. Just 2 days off for the Wall Breaker. The Loons are down 4.5. Wizards are down 5 days. Healer is only down 1.5 days. Is only seeing a 1.5 day cut. Dragon, 4.5 days off. P.E.K.K.A, 3.5. And the Baby Dragon's also having a 3.5 day cut. And there's no upgrade cuts, by the way, for the Miner, the E-Drag, or also the Hound or Ice Golem, or any of the Siege machines for that matter. Minion. The Minion is down 3 days, 2 days for the Hog Rider. Valk's receiving some love with 5.5 days off, 5 days off for the Witch, and 2 for the Bowler. As far as spells are concerned, it's just 4.5. It's 4.5 days dropping from Lightning, 2 days off from Heal, 3 from Rage, and 1 day from Jump. And as I said, the most there is 5.5 days. They don't seem like much, but if my maths is right, and it's probably not, it should be close, we're looking at 74 days total upgrade time saved with this update. That's over 10 weeks worth of lab upgrades that people will no longer have to do if you haven't already done them. Now let's get into the meat of this, the buildings. And before we do start, some buildings have build costs reduced and some don't, and some also have some, and there's a couple that don't have some upgrade time reduced, but majority do. And I've also done some probably incorrect math. This was done at 3 AM, so spare me some slack on how many total days of upgrades are saved, as well as a percentage on this to try and give it some perspective. So there's a lot going on here. Take your time with it, or just take it with a grain of salt and try and enjoy the ride, right? The town hall, there's a bit over 10 days saved over the various levels. So if you were to upgrade from level 1, the max town or 12 giga Tesla, that would equate to, for example, 15% of the total upgrade time that's now been wiped off. Army camps, 7.5 days of upgrades have been saved from every single army camp over its journey. That's 30 total days of upgrades. Before this coming update, from level 1 to max level 10 would take just over 38 days. So we're saving about 20% for every army camp. Not just that, 3.75 million elixir is saved for each army camp too. That's 15 million elixir total. Elixir and gold mines, huge drops in build time. Almost 10 days worth of upgrades saved from each of them. So 70 days from the gold, 70 days from elixir, and the build time from scratch is now being reduced by over 60% for each of them. That is insane. And hopefully you kind of get where I'm going with this now with the percentages and the total build time and whatnot. I'll speed through it. I want to share these details, but I also don't want you to get stuck till 2020 watching the video. The elixir and gold storages are each saving 3.5 days or 14 total. They're also 3 million cheaper each of their respective resources. Barracks are getting significant decreases, close to 14 days worth. Over 55 for all 4. And from scratch, this is saving 40% of the upgrade time for the barracks, which again is huge. We all hate cooking troops slower because barracks are being upgraded. It's even better for dark barracks we'll get to later on. And 2.25 million elixir is saved for each barracks as well. Pretty nice. The lab itself is losing a bit over 5 days of build time, while each cannon is losing just over 9 days for a total of 65 days of upgrades saved for the cannons. Archer towers, saving even more with, I think, 13.5 days of upgrades saved for each archer tower. That's 108 days total worth of upgrades saved from archer towers alone. Crazy. Now, each bomb tower is also dropping 8.5 days. But the cannon and the archer towers, though they're saving, so much time, they're also saving so much gold. Each cannon will cost about 10 million gold less from scratch, and 12.5 million gold for each archer tower. That's a total of 70 million gold saved for the cannons, and 100 million gold saved from the archer towers alone. Just try and get your mind around that, right? Wizard towers are losing just less than 8 days each, as well as 3.5 million from each of their total costs. Teslas are losing over 17 days of upgrades from their cycle. Thank God. They took longer to cook from the start to their maximum level than anything else, beforehand at least. Also, just less than 6 million off of their costs as well. And the bomb tower I touched on before is getting a bit over 8 days. It's getting a bit over 8 days, as well as a couple million off their cost. Pretty similar figures for the air defense as well as the bomb tower. The air sweeper is seeing a big 43% drop in the total cook time and is losing 12.5 days for and 6 million gold for each of the air sweepers. And there's a few throwaway discounts, the Spell Factory, the Expo, although 4.5 million gold saved there, the clan castle, and a cute little 2 hours saved from each of the mortars. Lastly, the dark elixir pump, like its gold and elixir brethren, seeing big decreases, but rather than cook time, it is its total 9.5 million elixir being dropped. There are 35% of, or 7.5 days, are being taken off the dark elixir storage building times. And finally, another behemoth of a reduction, biggest of the lot, 29 days are being removed from the dark barracks upgrade times. That's over 55% of the total time it currently takes to upgrade it all the way to max. A few I haven't touched on yet clearly are the Inferno Tower, Eagle Artillery, and the Siege Workshop. As Supercell did say that they would get reductions in upgrade times, but none, at least at the recording of this video, are known about. Each Inferno, however, is seeing a small $1 million drop in one of the upgrade prices. Now, what does this all equate to, right? Over 290 million gold is being saved. Over 83 million elixir is being saved. Majority of these being Town Hall 9 and up. So majority should be able to make, hopefully benefit from this in some shape or fashion. And how much time does this all save? Brace yourselves. There's over 740 days worth of upgrades being saved here. That's over 105 weeks, or legitimately over 2 years worth of building upgrades saved with this update. This doesn't account for builders, of course, so let's say you had 5 builders going from day dot. No, you're unlikely to, but let's just say, it's more like 21 weeks worth of upgrades being saved, which is still basically half a year. Taken off from maxing out all your buildings. Whew. Now, that was a lot to record and put together and a lot to take in, I'm sure. Hopefully, it has helped summarize some of the changes, or at least the significance and the scale of some of these changes going forward. And I alluded at the start of the video as to what this may mean. And on the forums, many people are asking as to where this may mean there's future upgrades for some of the defences and troops because things are being discounted. Personally, I'm skeptical on that, given the choices about what were discounted and not so much at the Town Hall 12 level. And even Town Hall 11 defences are sometimes being untouched. I do, however, wonder about the Witch. Unless it was a typo, which it may have been, the level 4 Witch, which is currently a Town Hall 12 troop, was listed down as being Town Hall 11. If that is now going to be a Town Hall 11 troop, that's huge. There's going to be a level 5 Witch. Again, huge. So Town Hall 11 and Town Hall 12 could see some Witch dominance if this were to come into play. Finally, been going for a while, why are the lab upgrades and heroes even more important than before? Well, already we're seeing lab upgrades and heroes Norwals being the key hindrances and people maxing out their bases before they move up every Town Hall level. And although there are over 10 weeks worth of, that's not to be underestimated, 10 weeks worth of discounts from the lab. The sheer scale of discounts to buildings, however, almost nullifies this and results in lab upgrades being even further behind than before. And furthermore, well, heroes are receiving no discount across the board, and already the grind for heroes is what holds so many back. This will only be worsened, of course, by this update, so you got to make sure you're always looting for Dark Elixir, always prioritizing your heroes. The rest of your base will come along, but you need to hunt down that Dark Elixir for your heroes, because they're going to be further behind than ever before with this update, and it's going to be harder for them to catch up. And we're done. Go back over it if you want, compare it to the information Supercell's put out, let me know where my maths has failed me. I'll put a little upgrade building graph thing at the very end. You can take a squiz out if you want. Anyway, Spackman out. I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.